Among those crammed into the House chambers to hear him will be Minnesota's junior Senator Rod Grams. And it's entirely possible that Senator Grams will agree with a lot of what the president has to say. In fact, it was reported this week that last year, Grams supported President Clinton more often than not, voting with this Democratic president 52% of the time. One of the things we want to talk about tonight with the senator. Are you a raging liberal or moderate now, or?
No, and I'm just glad to see that the president has decided to move a little bit closer to our point of view. And most of those agreeable votes have come through, the issues of tax reduction, tax relief, ways to slim down the government. Now, we haven't gone as far as I would like to go. I think we've got a long way to go. The president has got about another 48%, I think, to move, and then we're going to be right on target.
But let me continue this. Gil Gutnick, who I think is a spiritual brother of yours,
right?
He's in like the 20% voting with Clinton.
Right, but you got to remember the votes that were taken in the Senate were probably different than the votes in the House. I think they're recording different things. Gil and I are pretty much on the same page with more agreements than disagreements, and I would say I agree with Gil more than I do with the president. But again, when we look at the votes that we took in the Senate, I'm pleased that the president has moved in our direction. But a lot of times he embraced a lot of our proposals and watered them down. And I'm maybe disappointed in how they came out, but I'm generally favorable in the direction we've been able to move the debate.
Well, let's talk some issues here. How about tobacco? Politically now, I mean, don't you have to throw overboard your friends in the tobacco industry, especially in light of all the news that's coming out ahead of these trials?
Well, I'm not out there embracing the tobacco industry. I'm not a smoker. I used to be. I haven't smoked in 17 years. I'm not in bed or aligned with the tobacco.
Republicans get a lot of money.
Well, everybody gets a lot of money, but
RJR
Nabisco has many, many more products on the market than just tobacco. But I'm looking at the precedent that this is setting and where the arguments are going to go, and I know Congress is going to have to take a good hard look at this very quickly when we get back into session.
National settlement's going to pass the House and Senate?
Well, the president is urging that, and I think rather than piecemealing, if there's going to be a settlement, if the tobacco company is coming to the table with this, I think we have to at least look at it rather than the piecemeal that's been going around. And if it's going to be a fair settlement, I think that's what we're going to be looking at.
I was up in Duluth this week, and their talk radio is just filled with the USS Des Moines. And should it come to Duluth, and should the state spend money, your office is in support of that, or have you taken a position? Or?
Well, we haven't taken a real strong position, although just at first blush, I would be in support of that. I think it's great to remember the men and women who served this country, and if this is part of the memorial, I think that's great. I don't think we want another war to remind people how important that war was and what was accomplished. And if it's a tourist attraction or helps in that respect, I'm for that. So I haven't really taken a position against it, although I haven't heard everything that the governor's got to offer. But I would like to see it happen if that's the bottom line.
What do you think about Voyageurs National Park closing about 11 bays to snowmobiling this winter?
Well, I think it was another arbitrary move, and I think that's again, what some of the complaints have been up there. But there are, if this could be worked out, I mean, again, a lot of the complaints up there is that this is always a one-sided decision-making process, and that people aren't brought into it, and the snowmobilers and the residents. So we would like to see something if there's an agreement between the residents, the snowmobilers, and the park that this is the best thing to do, fine. But I think a lot of the animosity comes when some of these are just arbitrary decisions that are made, and that based on whatever facts that the Forest Service might have or the Park Service might have. So again, I'm not against trying to protect the wolves, but I haven't seen a lot of the hard data, and one judge, ruled in fact that there wasn't that much disturbance by the snowmobilers. So I think that's where a lot of the problems come in, is that there's not the communication between the public and the Park Service or those regulating the park that we need to have.
The governor is in China as we talk here tonight, and they're working on some trade agreements and this sort of thing. You're on the proper committees in the Senate to talk about this. Are you concerned about the doing business with the country that has the human rights record that China does, and some of the other problems that go with that?
I think the only way we can really solve some of those problems or have any kind of influence on China and its human rights and religious persecution, etc., is to really be involved with them. I mean, if we say we're not going to trade with you, they'll close the doors to us, and then we'll have no opportunity for influence or really how to gauge what's going on. I think China is moving in the right direction. I'm not giving them carte blanche. I think, Reagan always would say trust but verify. But I think that trade is good both ways. It's good for the Chinese, it's good for the Americans, it produces many, many jobs and billions of dollars in dollars for us in this country. So I'm willing to take a look at it, and I think, again, I've been to China twice. I've met with the president. I think they have the intention of moving more toward a market-type system. So I'm pretty well pleased with what they have done to date.
Being a good Republican, stateside politics, gubernatorial race. Who do you want to support, Coleman or Benson?
Yes, one of those are going to be a great governor for the state of
You're with
Minnesota.
your
which
friends
one now?
With my friends. I haven't made the decision yet, but I think this is going to be a Republican year. I think Republicans are excited about 1998 when it comes to the House and the Senate in Minnesota, and I think they're excited about the governor's race. So you're right, the friends of mine are going to be happy.
Are you becoming more moderate looking at your re-election bid in 2000?
No, I've always said many times I don't like to put politics in when I'm trying to make a good decision on a vote. I try to leave the politics aside. There's plenty of time for that. I try to make a decision based on what's good for Minnesota and the country.
Glad you came
Thanks.
down. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thanks.